Hey, it's Jess Salguero, and you're listening to How Are You Now, the toughest podcast in Letterkenny.
If I walked out my door for the last time, if I never came back, I'd feel fine. I need to see more of the world. I don't know you, but I'm easy to talk to. Chicago ain't far if you feel like I do. We need to see more of the world. I need some air, so give me some air.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I love me some new music to listen to on the podcast. This week is Yellow Light Maybe. But guess what?
What?
Tiara?
What?
How are you now?
Oh, good and you.
Oh, I'm pretty damn good, actually, but not so bad, I guess you could say.
Oh.
Again, you'll find us away on a weekend vacation. We are in Seaside, Oregon, for Tiara's birthday. Everybody say, happy birthday, Tiara.
Happy birthday, Tiara.
Thank you. I've been sung to so many times this weekend. It's ridiculous.
Lots of spankings.
I promise I shan't inflict my voice on you.
Oh, it's all right. Everybody's got their own qualities of voice, and they're all appreciated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, mine's like 10 rusty nails in a tin bucket.
Oh, I doubt that.
Today's music is Yellow Light Maybe. They'll pre-show stuff like we always do, and we will always do going forward. And did you hear who was up top? That was little Jess Salguero.
I know. Oh my God, it was so cool. Oh my God.
We have an interview out on Patreon right now. So if you go to patreon.com/howareyounowpod, sign up just for even $1 a month. You can listen to that interview now. Otherwise, you have to wait until our recap episode, which is probably about 3 weeks away. Yeah, something like that. Sounds about right. And so, yeah, also, we're at the top of a new month, so new cosplay contest.
Please.
How
Birthday
are you?
present for me.
Yes.
I want to see your cosplay.
That's right. And any Marianne Betty and combos get extra points.
Yes.
So you go to howareyounowpod.com/cosplay for rules and regulations. And then, we're, again, as you heard, Yellow Light Maybe, we're always looking for new bands. Hosts at howareyounowpod.com is where you go to tell us, hey, play us on your show. We would like to be on there a lot. And also, we have a phone number if you want to leave us voicemails about anything. It doesn't have to be about this episode. It could be about, I really like that shirt Dean is wearing, which you got off of howareyounowpod.com/merch. You like that one?
Oh, shit. That was smooth. Smooth.
That was a classy plug.
Hey.
Right?
Hey, I'll plug our shit. If somebody wants to pay me to plug their shit, you can do so on Patreon at the $5 level.
That is true.
So I will do that.
Another classy plug.
That's
there
right.
you go.
That's right. And
He's been getting rest this weekend.
So yeah. And so our have I been now?
Oh. You kids, get cuter.
Yeah. Yep. 30450 Berta. And you can get played on our show and with whatever.
Tell me how much you love me.
That's right. And so we have I think our first 3-time on the show is awesome. How are you now?
Good, and you?
Deadly.
Yeah. Hey, trivia time.
Yeah.
This is the first episode I'm not pinch hitting.
Yeah, is that true?
That's true.
All right. Okay. I didn't realize that because Tiara doesn't understand the baseball phrase.
Nope.
So it's when you're batting for someone else.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Ken, by the way.
No worries, mate.
So
I'm here for you.
And so again, let's kind of, I know you've been on before, but tell us again your Letterkenny origin story. and all that stuff?
Okay. Well, I discovered Letterkenny and on Tumblr a couple of years before I actually got to watch the show. I saw several of the gift sets being passed around and a couple of the short videos, clips. And then I was laid up in early 2018, just after Series 4 dropped on Christmas 2017. I had wrist surgery and my sister had a baby, so I was helping my sister and staying up nights while she tried to get her head down. And then I was recovering from wrist surgery, so I had a whole lot of time. I basically just have them playing on a screen in my mind 24/7 now. So, and then, I took a trip up to Canada to catch the new seasons when and as I was able.
As
little
you
quick
do.
trips.
As lovers do.
Oh God, do not.
As lovers are wants to do.
With me.
Yes.
Good grief. So, and then I discovered the podcast. Oh gosh. I think I started listening to you guys right as you were wrapping up Series 2, I believe. And then I went and listened to the whole back catalog.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I actually have a question for you. Since we are
Please.
starting to have kind of repeat guests, I had this thought. Instead of telling us your origin story, or maybe in addition, tell us when you turned somebody on to Letterkenny and how you did that.
So, okay. I work in a library at the United Irish Cultural Center of San Francisco.
Cool.
And I got my work wife hooked on Letterkenny through the St. Patrick's Day episode.
Yeah.
And then I was showing it to some of my friends there, and we decided that number A, Wayne and Katie have at least one Irish parent from Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And number B, Wayne's Irish name is Wanya. And the icing on that cupcake is that I tweeted this in a fit of hubris and whiskey, and both Jacob Tierney and Jared Kizo liked my tweet.
Awesome.
So that's now my pinned tweet.
Nice.
Wanya is canon. Fight me, bitches.
One of the things, and just before we get into the show stuff, I put out on Twitter a request for people to send in their origin stories.
Oh.
And there is a really cool one that I like that came over from the Cosgroves, Michael and Noel. I'm guessing that's what their names are. And he says, my wife, and I met over the show, neither knowing it was the other's favorite show. What you doing? Watching Letterkenny? No way. She sends a photo of her TV. I text back, I'll bring beers if you want to chill. That's my favorite show. Her reply, me too. Bam, married. Been inseparable ever since. Been through all the seasons together and keep rewatching and quoting and laughing our asses off. So thank you, Letterkenny, and everyone involved. We both swore we'd never get married too. Ha ha ha.
Yes, chef's kiss.
Yes, we got photobombed by the clerk. The judge said to meet at the bar, and he'd buy the first round.
C'est parfait.
That is so cool.
That's awesome. So I wanted to share that. We have other ones that we'll share over time. And also, if you have a Letterkenny origin story, you can leave it on our voicemail or send it to us via Twitter. Voicemail would be fun to hear your voices as you're recounting those tales. But we'd like to do that. And so let's. Awesome. Do you have anything you'd like to plug before we get into things?
I did want to mention last week you guys had Reagan on, and she mentioned that she and I met and began talking because she read a fic of mine. So I wanted to plug that fic in case anybody else decides it. She really liked it because I invented a cow for Derry to keep as a pet that he named Moonbeam.
I would love that too.
It was his genuine first love. He found her at a county fair when he was 9 and bought her with his allowance money.
So why don't you, first of all, explain what a fic is for those who don't know.
It's my handle on Archive of Our Own is the same. It's What Do You Mean It's Not Awesome? And the title of the fic gives a whole new meaning to cow eyes. And I will absolutely send you the link, and you can include it in the show notes.
I will, but tell the audience what a fic actually is. So that,
yeah, like my mother, who probably doesn't have any idea what you're talking about.
Explain to me like I'm 65 years old.
Oh dear. Okay, so fic is short for fan fiction, which is original writing based on a source that is already extant. So like I write short stories and some not so short stories based on the characters and setting of Letterkenny.
There you go.
Other fic is out there for other fandoms.
Right.
But
so yeah, it's, you know, whatever you're into, you can write fan fiction about. So
yeah,
I mean, hell,
that
that's
is
how we
Rule
got
63.
Twilight.
Yeah.
That is how we got Twilight.
No, that's how we got 50 Shades.
Oh,
50 Shades was a Twilight fanfic.
That's right. Not like either was any better than the other, honestly.
Yeah.
No.
I still haven't watched either. So yeah,
I've seen parts of both, and it just terrifies me.
So what the hell is that noise? Are you killing a cat over there?
That's a dog.
No, I'm sorry. My dog is going ape shit.
Wouldn't be
as he does. He's got that little dog energy.
Little dog syndrome. So as you said, last week we had Reagan on, and she was on for our episode of Different Strokes for Different Folks. And also we had music from Light the Lamp. So different strokes for different folks, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's all right there in the title. Mm-hmm. Quit judging people for what they do on their own time. And not everybody's the same as you. And that's okay. That's right, doggy. That's right. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's go ahead and get into season 6, episode 6, deep dive of You. And this is the season finale.
It is.
There's one more.
What's gonna happen?
There's one more episode coming for this season, but it's not part of the season. It's the holiday episode. Mm-hmm. So this episode is You. So we open up at the farm. And there's a discussion going on about space cadets, and how you'd mix a batch in space, and the space cadets, and how they would use a cone in order to catch the batch. And he learned it from overhearing some cadets while he was in Florida. He took Angie down to Disney. And then talking about Roberta's Bondar, and this whole story about how she was up in space with this whole group of the best people, the best space people ever, and that she went up there and didn't want to go back, and so Dan wanted to know why, and so that she was that this other space person, we don't know who it is,
this other astronaut.
All right, this other astronaut would go basically fly in to his camera with his junk out and have Roberta look at Space Cam 6, and she got pissed and reported it back to Houston. They had to do the Picard maneuver and warp factor 10 home.
Oh my God. I actually went down, I wrote notes on all the little Star Trek shoutouts that we will discuss in our thoughts, theories, and trivia section.
Yeah, there's lots of that. Yeah, lots of that. Apparently, things got worse, and Dan pipes up.
Remember what I was saying about the cone?
Yeah.
Guess whenever it was Bondar's turn to clean Beta Quadrant, he would routinely batch and not cone it.
Inexcusable.
Well, I think Bondard tell you that's an understatement.
I think she would too.
Now, she never expected to be floating around some spaceman's quarters trying to catch airborne ejaculate in a plastic vacuum bag when she signed up for space camp.
So yeah, at that point, mission aborted. She's out. Warp Factor 10 home. They have a whole meeting in there where they have pat downs and phones are left outside. She didn't want him kicked out, but she said she would work it out with him down at the bar. But apparently he's still up in space while she's sitting in the bar drinking old fashions. Yeah. So, but they have mad respect for Bondar's there. And Wayne thinks she should be prime minister. So, so that's the open. We cut back to the play. I write PS for Produce Stand, but I also see PS and I think PlayStation. So I almost said PlayStation.
Really? I think postscript.
Well, I make my notes just for PS is Produce Stand, so I don't have to write it all the way out. So
oh yeah.
So the Hicks are all there. Mary Fred calls and to tell Wayne to do it. He doesn't really want to, but eventually he gives in, and we get
Hot
this.
at the right time.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, c'est complet. Je parle bien alphabet. Je colore répété avec les yeux fermés. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. OK, c'est complet.
Bravo, merci. Bye, je t'aime.
Je t'aime.
Love them. They're so cute.
They
God
are.
damn it.
Could you get any cuter? So Derry is not having any fun with what's going on. Dan notices it and asks him what's going on. He's in a bad way. So he hadn't talked to Anik in a while. Squirrely Dan said he hadn't seen her or heard from her in a fortnight. And so he just doesn't know what's going on. Katie says, well, I know what's going on. I follow her on Instagram. She has an Instagram. And so she shows him and he's really upset. And then Katie shows Wayne and Wayne takes a peek.
Yeah. In the words of Scotty Wallace, yeah.
That's what I said. I said, you.
There's no way the photos can be that rigged. You!
Holy fucking yeah!
Well, we are talking Y to the E to the double you!
I'm looking at you.
Come on, give me a big ol' you, boy!
Derry is just he's bummed out. But
Oh yeah.
Katie puts her phone in her pocket, says, we got to head out. And Dan wants to know, well, where are we going? He says, you're not going anywhere. Wayne and I got to handle something. And so they head off, and Squirrely Dan
He's hurt.
He's suspicious.
He's hurt.
Yeah.
There's motion in his voice.
That's very suspicious. You two heading off together someplace we're not supposed to go. Back at all town. So
That kills me every time.
Right?
So he just crams it all into one word.
So anyway, then Derry pipes up.
Hey, do you think that the other people in town know about her racy Instagram account?
Well, Derry, we have previously established that bad gas does travel fast in a small town, but I do believe racy photos travel faster.
Oh, I'm getting hammered.
We're out of beers, bud.
You can come with me to Modine's?
You don't have to ask me twice.
You. So they head off to Modine's. We cut to Modine's. Riley and Jonesy are sitting at the bar giggling, and they cut to JB and Tyson, and they are too. And then Derry and Squirrely Dan walk in, and rather than Jonesy start chirping at him, Derry is just wanting to drink. Then everybody's yewing at the Instagram photos, and Stewart and Rold show up. He says, "Is Scotty Wallace here?" And they want to know
what's the kerfuffle.
Daryl Sweetie's Instagram.
You. Oh. Yeah, I just jerked off to that. And I just jerked off to that.
Jerked off to what?
Stuart was just saying that he jerked off to Daryl Sweetie's Instagram, and I was just saying that I jerked off to Stuart jerking off to Daryl Sweetie's Instagram.
You're gay?
Super gay.
Yeah. I'm not.
Said from the start, very beginning, you're one of them types that's, I love my wife, and you're a good enough guy, right? I ain't one of you.
So then, Sergey, I love that.
Rolled, period. I love rolled.
Oh yeah, how can you not? Rolled is the awesome. So then Gail pops up from underneath the bar, wiping off her phone screen. She was rubbing one out. Use all around, and we cut to the street where Wayne and Katie are walking, and they're talking about how much money he's spending on this thing.
She asked if she can wear that leopard dress.
She asked if she can wear a leopard print dress to this thing. Wayne says, wait a second, and pulls out his phone and...
Hello. What's up?
Mary Fred, what's that big cat running around Africa with all the spots on it?
A leopard.
Yeah, well, what's that fish bears like catching in streams?
Salmon.
Yeah, what do you like in your ice cream bars?
Almonds.
Atta girl. You're driving up tonight, eh?
Yeah.
All right, well, go easy, Leadfoot.
Okay. Je t'aime.
Oh, I swoon at them.
Yeah.
Get cuter.
Yeah, get cuter.
That's
what Katie says. So they, Wayne flicks out his smoke, and they head into the Letterkenny Central Credit. Then we cut back to the produce stand. Derry's out there having a smoke and a beer, and up in the truck, Anik drives up. And so she asks him how he's doing, and he says he's just okay. Comme ci, comme ça. So, well, I hadn't heard from you in a while, and your Instagram and all these jerks, everybody's jerking, and she cuts him off, says, well, you shouldn't listen to jerks.
No, she basically says, because he's saying I haven't seen you in a week, and she's like, jerks don't deserve my time. Like, that's literally what.
Well, he mentioned something about people jerking off.
Yes, and that's when she cut him off.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But it was about basically saying he was being a jerk.
Yeah. So she basically says he's too clingy, and that she's going to try to get working out things with Jean-Claude, and it's just basically a breakup, and she drives off. And around the back of the produce stand comes Squirrely Dan, zipping down his jeans, because it's the bib overalls, they zip down when you close them.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
they're backwards like that.
Yeah. So he comes from around, and he's heard everything, and he goes, well, at least you'll be able to, maybe look at her sexy photos, and maybe not feel so personal about them, because like you. And so cut off to Modine's that night, and Wayne and Katie are walking up to Modine's from outside. Katie helps him snap up his top snap, and she walks into the bar, and then the camera just with the music going follows them around the bar. You see dancing going on, hanging out. Rold is sitting very close to McMurray.
Yeah, we had to look a couple of times to make sure that he wasn't actually sitting in McMurray's lap.
Right. So
that is what it looks like at first glance.
It does. So we had to stop a couple times, and because it's really quick. But at the same time, he's reaching back and has his hand on Dax and Ron's table.
Right.
So, and they are flirting.
Oh,
they're
hardcore.
making like faces.
Hardcore, yeah.
And what's the next episode?
Yeah, we'll see. So, and then we get around to this table. Joint Boy and Tyson are arm wrestling with Gail's legs up on their shoulders, I think, or something like that. Then we finally scroll back around to the bar itself, where Katie, Derry, and Squirrely Dan are sitting at the bar. It's Katie, Derry, Squirrely Dan, and Bonnie McMurray is behind them tending. And so Katie says, well, I heard, and Derry's just like, yeah. And so it's all for the best. And Bonnie pipes up, what's for the best? And they tell her, and she's, Derry's single? Is it, you want to go dance? And he's like, I guess there's a silver lining. And they head off to dance. So Dan
Katie thinks it's so cute. She's watching them, and she's just like, "Aw."
Yeah. So they go off to dance, and Squirrely Dan's still looking at Anik's Instagram, and he says, "Look at this one." He's like, "You." And then it's like Scotty Wallace would say, and then you hear a "you" from the background, and it's Scotty Wallace. He keeps more companies. She goes, "What do you mean?" And he points back there, and he's Scotty Wallace is back there with the ginger and boots. And she looks away real quick, like, I don't see that.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, and then looking back to the dance floor, walking into Modine's, Lovina Dick shows up, and she's got the cutest little grin, and then Dan has
a little
the cutest
shy
grin.
look, and Dan takes his hat off.
So sweet. Oh my God, I'm getting cavities.
Right? I just got diabetes watching that episode over and over again.
God, yes.
The whole thing.
And then we cut back to the exterior of Modine's. Wayne's out there smoking, and Marie Fred walks up and tells him that she got a ticket. He's like, "Well, I'm not surprised there, Leadfoot." And she says something.
You just talked yourself out of something, dark bread.
Dark bread.
Which I've never heard that phrase
Right,
before.
and I'm sure you know what that is, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So he goes, "I got a question for you." And she says, she unsnaps his button and says, "Ask me inside." And she heads inside, and he flicks out his cigarette, and he pulls from his back pocket this little box that he opens up, and it's got an engagement ring in it. And then we fade to black.
End of season.
End of season. That was a good one.
That was a really good one.
Yeah.
And I love that the next episode that's coming out is Valentine's Day, because of how everything in this, I mean, it's not timeline-wise, we don't know where the Valentine's Day episode fits, because they never really established that in each season.
Right.
So, but
I have capital T thoughts about this.
Of course you do. So take a little note. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, let's see. My notes I have here.
Oh, you put them all in there.
I do. Well, I put them on here just because they were easier. Now if I can find them.
So this is the first time that I heard batch for masturbate.
Really?
Is that something
episode 1?
Well, I mean, okay. Well, I don't remember that specific phrase.
The batch.
So
when they're at the produce stand.
All right. All right. Well, this is the first time I internalized it. How's that?
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. So I've got. So the Cape Canaveral to Disney World is about an hour away from each other. So not likely that there would be space cadets or astronaut candidates, as they're actually called, to be hanging out at a bar next to Disney World. And so we know who Roberta Bondar is. It's easy to look her up on the Wikipedia. She's Dan basically explained it. She's a neuroscientist, and she's
an astronaut.
Yeah, and she was the first
Canadian woman.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of curious as to who the other guy was that they were talking about.
Right.
And then and
if that's like a real rumor that goes around, or if that's literally just something they made up for the show.
Yeah, and again, the reference to Keeper, if there ever was one, has happened so many times this season. And then this is also the first mention of Scotty Wallace. The first time we hear you. And that he keeps poor company. And then the rolled hand on Dax and Ron's table I thought was cute, and it did look
the way
like
he looked over,
right, and that he did look like he was sitting on McMurray's lap. And then I did have a question about what the fuck is dark bread, and how does that go? So do you know what dark bread is? Awesome.
I don't particularly, but just judging off context. So dark bread is something that's like a little heartier and filling. I think she might be referring to like Wayne being, thick.
So it's like
that's just me.
It's the Quebecois version of Big Shoots.
Yeah.
So.
I like that.
His nickname on set is Big Dad, which is why he wrote those lines in later. But yeah, no, that's all I can glean from it, and that tracks, I think.
Yeah, I just didn't know. I mean, I'd never heard that. That's the first time I'd heard that phrase. So, yeah. What do you got there? Awesome for your next.
Actually, wait a second.
Hang on.
Can I actually go before you, because you
got a lot of notes.
everything?
Yeah, I have like 9 pages of notes, so go right ahead.
Yeah, and I'm on my birthday weekend, so I didn't study this one as hard as I normally do.
Yeah,
happy motherfucking birthday, babe.
Thank you.
Yeah, we don't have all the normal gear that we have for writing up notes and printing things out.
Right.
So
Right.
Go nuts.
All right, so I'm curious in the opening why Dan so quickly starts kind of not believing Wayne. Usually they all kind of take everything as gospel, but Dan in this episode is like, now I don't think Cape Canaveral's so close. Like, he's the one pointing out that they're not close together. Are you sure about this? And so that's so right off the bat, instead of just going along with what Wayne says, I'm curious why Dan would suddenly be questioning everybody so much more than he used to.
yeah.
He does seem a bit arbitrarily skeptical.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that was probably something that's been brought up before. And are those things really close? And then we'll have Dan talk about that.
All right.
I'm willing to bet.
There's one point where they mention space camp and Derry like just basically blows it off like, on space camp's not that cool. I'm like, did Derry go to space camp? Because I would love to have a conversation with him about that.
They only talk about omega particles in space camp.
Right, exactly. Like, so what does that mean? You actually were at space camp, or is that just what you heard? Like, I want to know. I love how this yarn that Wayne is coming up with reminds me of, speaking of fan fiction, it reminds me kind of like Star Trek fan fiction. Like,
oh yeah,
you know,
very
on this remote
much.
space station with different quadrants and
beta quadrant, down in beta
alpha quadrant, beta quadrant,
looking for wormholes.
Yeah. So that made me giggle,
man.
and also really cool that we have a fanfic writer or a fic writer, and that scene kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
all those.
and also Wayne mentions cosplay.
Yeah.
Which
Yes.
in the Venn diagram of fandom, those two things are practically a circle.
Yeah,
Right.
So
completely.
Let's see. I love that, you know, just like in other times when they've gossiped, Wayne looks around and like above, like up to the roof of the house and try to look around the corner to make sure nobody was around to hear, but you know, you can't really actually tell if anyone is around from how he's looking. And I love that. I love that they keep doing that.
I know. My first thought at that was just like, oh my, who do you think is listening? Like, you're
Right.
on your property, it's just the three of you by yourselves. Who do you think is going to be eavesdropping on you?
Yeah, it always seems to be hick type people who believe in these conspiracy theories anyway.
Although later when Anik breaks up with Derry, Dan was just right behind the produce stand, taking a piss. So, and coming out and saying, "Whoa, you know, you don't even know who's around." Like that, just I thought that was hilarious.
Bad time to be rocking a piss,
right? And then again with the bad gas travels fast. So, in the last episode, I think it was that Katie was saying like, fuck Facebook. And I was questioning, why doesn't she like Facebook? But she goes on Insta, which is owned by Facebook.
Yeah.
And like, so that was.
Well, so it doesn't mean she posts. She just likes looking at Anik's
True. She doesn't have to post
photos.
That is true. Okay. Thank you. See, this is.
She'll just post a.
I gotta say, being roughly contemporaneous with Wayne and Katie, I also have an Insta, but you cannot pay me to have a Facebook.
Oh, that's funny.
But I do have an Insta because my cousins post pictures of their kids. So I got to keep up with that.
That's why my parents joined Facebook.
I joined Facebook only for podcasting.
Generational. I was actually just talking about that after Grace passed away, I was talking with her brother-in-law, and he's like 12 or 13 years younger than me, I think. And just like saying, you know, if you need anything, you can just message me on Facebook. And he kind of looks at me funny. I'm like, wait, you don't have a Facebook, do you? How old are you? No, you don't have a Facebook. What do you have?
Snapchat or Instagram?
Probably. I can't get back on the Snapchat.
I've never had one. My cousins all do, but they're all younger than me.
Yeah, when it first came out, it got really big in roller derby for a little bit.
Why is that?
because girls all over the world were enjoying sending their boobs to each other and not having it stick around.
You know what? I can get behind that.
Right?
All in favor of boobs, say,
as long as you're of age, yeah. I really liked that Katie, knowing that Wayne was about to propose, like buttons up his shirt so that he's, looking proper in the way that she knows he likes to look.
Yeah.
And then when Marie Fred showed up, she just casually unbuttons it and just like looking into his eyes, like, no, this is you. This is more you. Just relax. And I thought that was really sweet. And it makes me hate, future stuff even more. I find it interesting that also, and this is spoiler, in future episodes where they accuse Anik of cheating, we talked about this. There was no actual evidence other than her basically saying, I'm going to try and work things out with my fiance that I broke up with to be with you. That's not cheating. I mean, unless they're counting Derry as the one she's cheating with. So, yeah. So that made me think about that. Were they referring to Derry and her relationship as cheating on Jean-Claude?
No, I think probably they think that just her talking to Jean-Claude constitutes the cheating.
I feel like they're way more sex positive than that.
Well, here's the thing. I think
the mental state of it.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that they just assume that Anik is sleeping with Jean-Claude while she's quote unquote working things out with him.
Yeah.
Because that is like a previously established relationship. It would be very easy to slide back into their old patterns.
Sure. Yeah. But they're essentially then slut shaming her for something that they assume.
Right. Yeah. No, it's consistency is not 100% on this show.
True. Yeah. I mean, not every show's perfect. None of us is.
It's seriously, it took like, so with watching it twice today, that puts me at probably 5 times watching this episode. And it wasn't until the last one that I started even thinking about that. And like, because, I know that in the next season, that's kind of a part of the arc. And I watched for it that last time because you mentioned it at first. And then I was like, well, is this what they mean? And so it sent me down a rabbit hole in my brain.
As Squirrely Dan is wont to say, we are nones of us perfects.
We are nones of us perfects. That's my favorite. God.
And I appreciated that Derry echoed that back this episode.
He did.
Yeah. Because I think he also realized that what all his friends were telling him was true about the being clingy and stuff.
Yeah.
Because when she said it, she's like, you need to stop being so clingy. He's like, oh, like, fuck, my friends were telling me that. Why didn't I listen? So he knows that he fucked up in that too and lost.
And I think, I think he knew it going in. He just didn't know how to turn that off.
Yeah.
He
never thought he was good enough. And so he proved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be. I actually.
No, you go ahead now. It's all you.
Okay.
You do you. You do you.
This is going to take a while, you guys. I apologize.
We know. There's a reason you are awesome, right?
Yeah. And it's because I spend way too much time thinking about a fucking half-hour comedy show.
Not even half. It's only half hour if you include commercials.
Well, okay. So to that point, we start off with the critical space stuff discussion.
Right.
And this episode is 19 minutes and 32 seconds. And of those 19 minutes and 32 seconds, this cold open takes 7 minutes and 8 seconds. It is the longest cold open in Letterkenny, in one of the shortest Letterkenny episodes.
Yeah.
It doesn't even break the 20-minute mark.
Wow.
Yeah, I think, I notice that they do that is that if they have more story, this is really a story-driven episode, but
also tying up and setting up.
So yeah, it's a lot of that. So the comedy that's thrown in around it, with like that, the whole thing with the Bondar thing and the U is really just nothing.
Right.
Overall, it's really the story about Wayne is about to propose, and Derry is breaking up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's another thing is mostly Letterkenny has 3 plot lines per episode. Sometimes they'll just do 1, but that's usually just the holiday episodes and
Right.
like Fart Book. But there are 2 plots going on in this episode, and they're both about relationships. And in Derry's case, they're both about relationships changing. And in Derry's case, his relationship is ending. And in Wayne's case, he is taking steps to make his relationship more permanent.
Right.
I want to start with like the simple stuff that I saw first, like the little one-off things. Wayne is still dumping out the last inch of beer. That's funny. I had a thought about Wayne and using FaceTime.
Okay.
Because Wayne is autistic, he uses FaceTime because it's a lot easier for him to compensate for auditory processing deficits if he can see the person speaking. If you notice, when he calls somebody, it's always on FaceTime. He doesn't call using just the phone.
Yeah.
Other people call him using the phone, but he doesn't do that. That's me having my autism goggles on. Is Wayne uses FaceTime because he can see people talking and it helps him understand what's going on.
Oh yeah. This weekend, we have one new person who's never been on a trip with me, and she discovered very quickly that I can't hear her when she's talking to me from another room, and because I can't process it without looking at someone's face. I hate talking on the phone. I've only recently started using, like, I Skype with my therapist and a couple other choice people, but I have always hated the phone and never quite understood why, but that's exactly why.
Yeah, no, and I have ADHD. I also have auditory processing issues. Is for me to understand what somebody's saying if I can look at them versus just saying, huh? What? Over and over, like 5 times in a conversation with like increasing volume, and then in the middle of them repeating themselves, it just clicks what they just say, and it just kind of slots into place.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck.
Dean.
Awesome.
You know anybody like that?
Awesome. When did we get married?
Seriously.
Oh no, this is Tiara I'm thinking about.
He jokes with other people and tells them, like, if I say he'll tell them to stop and just wait. And like,
if they're in the same room.
If we're in the same room. Because he doesn't repeat ever. Anytime I say he doesn't repeat himself until I say, I actually didn't hear you that time. So
auditory processing issues are very, very common.
Yes.
You know.
Very true.
In the giant 3D sphere that I used to try and explain to one of the new teachers at my school what I meant when I talked about, deficits and attributes of my autism, and how the student that was in her class had these similar ones, but in these areas that were different, and like that sort of thing. So yeah, I like the Venn diagram idea, but like I wish people could imagine on a 3D plane.
Have you heard about the Sunday bar explanation?
SUNDAE?
Like
correct.
Ice cream?
Yeah. Ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a whole thing. Every Sunday has ice cream.
Correct.
And every Sunday has toppings.
Yeah.
So imagine a person as the ice cream, and imagine their neurodivergence as the toppings. And everybody has a unique and individual combination of toppings, and the proportions are all different. So like one person may have a shit ton of chocolate chips, and in this instance, chocolate chips is empathy. And another person may have like a shit ton of coconut, but no chocolate chips, and coconut would be like sensory processing issues. No, but like every Sunday topping is a different like deficit or attribute. No 2 Sundays can ever really be exactly the same.
Right.
So that's the Sunday bar theory. I encourage you to look it up. It's very useful as an explanation.
I like it. As soon as you started explaining it, I could see exactly where you were going, and it made complete sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's actually a really good Tumblr post about it with like graphics and everything. I'll dig it up and I'll send it to you on Twitter.
Excellent.
That would be great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And we'll post it on our fucking Facebooks.
You know, where I talk too much about being autistic, apparently, according to some people.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We had a good. She got a good review this not too long.
I'm
ago.
too fat and ugly to podcast too. That's a good one.
She's a fat,
that was my first troll.
It was a fat roller derby lesbian school teacher.
Yes. And can we just say I stopped skating and roller derby for like many, many years ago. So this dude fucking stalked me a little bit.
Yeah. He's a piece of shit.
Like,
whatever.
First of all, I can't believe anybody would say that combination of words like it's a bad thing.
Right.
Right.
And secondly, I mean, who is this individual? I will fight them.
I'll fight him.
we have no idea.
All right.
I offer the end of the laneway.
There you go. Moving on.
Moving on.
Okay. So let's talk about the ring for a second.
Yes.
One of my hobbies is jewelry.
Uh-huh.
I make it. I collect it. I've taken classes in stone cutting, stone setting, smithing, both small metals and blacksmithing. That ring that Wayne pulls out,
yeah,
that is a $10,000 ring if it's $1.
Really?
Which would make sense why Katie was like, whoa, about the investment that he was doing.
I mean, it looked tiny, so I mean,
you're
married to someone who hates diamonds, so
I grew up.
It makes sense.
I grew up with a woman, my mother, who loved diamonds and jewelry, and she would go in and look at all kinds. So that's. I mean, that. I don't know. I mean, I couldn't see the diamond. Granted.
Okay.
So I couldn't tell how many carats it was, or its clarity and all that kind of stuff.
Jared Kizo has giant fucking paws. So it looks a lot smaller than it is. I actually cheated a little bit and looked at a couple episodes in Series 7 to see the size of it on Marie Fred's hand. It's in a light metal setting, right? A light colored metal setting. Now, backtracking a little bit. When Katie says, I can't believe your budget for this thing, and then immediately follows that up with, can I wear a leopard print dress to this thing?
Mm-hmm.
I think in both those statements, the term thing refers to wedding.
Yeah.
Not ring.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so budget for the wedding would be $10,000?
No. That's entirely separate.
Yeah, she's talking about the budget for the ring.
Yeah. If Wayne has a budget for this, why are they at a bank? Banks don't sell rings. You never have to go to a bank to buy a ring.
No.
If you take out a personal loan.
Yeah. Well,
sure.
Well, there's other I possibly that she has to come along because it's something that they've
on
got
the property that they own together,
right?
Like taking out a second mortgage or something.
Yeah.
No, here's the thing. Banks don't sell rings.
Nope.
But banks do have safety deposit boxes.
Okay.
When you buy an engagement ring, especially something like this, you go to the jewelry store, you sit down, you pick a stone, you pick a setting, they run your credit, and you either finance through them or you put it on a card. Mm-hmm. If you put it on a card, they call your credit card company, you answer your security questions, and they authorize the charge.
Okay.
You never have to go to a bank to buy a ring like this.
No, we wouldn't. No, you
wouldn't. Yeah. But that doesn't mean, that might be the only way that he knows to get enough money to get a loan, essentially.
Yeah, he's taking out a loan.
To do that. That's exactly. He didn't go in there and come out with the ring. He had the ring later.
Yeah.
Like he went in there because, are you ready to do this thing? Like they're going to go in there and they're going to sign a piece of paper that basically says they're going to owe money for a while.
Yeah.
Like that's what I saw.
Yeah. concur.
Yeah.
Because it was called
And a $10,000 ring.
it was
that makes sense
and
for Wayne.
It wasn't listed as a bank. It was Letterkenny Credit Center.
Yeah.
So it was him
Right.
taking out a loan.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
That could be just their local credit union that the farmers in that community belong to.
Right.
Could be.
And like I said, what banks do have is security deposit boxes.
Yeah, they do.
So if they have a ring from their mother or their grandmother, where would you keep something like that?
I could see Wayne keeping, grandma's wedding ring or engagement ring and a safety deposit box. But I don't think
But
that's
what would he need
is.
Katie for?
Yeah.
He
I
wouldn't need Katie to have access
Because
to the
if
safe
they-
deposit.
If they both own the safety deposit box, they might both need to sign off on someone checking it out.
Oh, my mother and I both had a safe deposit box together, and it did not matter. I could go in by myself; she could go in by herself, as long as it was one of us.
Yeah. So I think, here's what I think. I think because they both own the farm,
Yeah,
she has to sign off on the loan against the deed of the farm. So that's the only reason she would have to come in. So
Yeah, he's not the kind of person that has a lot of money in the bank.
no,
Quote unquote in the bank, where he would go in and withdraw a huge amount of money. So he would have to ask for.
He definitely carries his walking around money.
He's got like a card, I'm sure, or something like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think he went in to take money, to get money out, to then go to, because I don't think they wanted to completely give it away. Why is he going into credit? What's he getting a loan for? They didn't want to show
going into a ring store,
going into jewelry to get jewelry. That's what it is. They want to hold that back till the end. That's my view. But I could be wrong. I have been wrong before.
None of us know.
That's true. It is up in the air.
And until Jared or Jacob, confirm that somehow.
Or Trevor Risk. I don't know if he
Trevor Risk.
I don't know if he wrote this episode.
When he talks to local podcasters that you might know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
see his one-eyed mouse.
Ask him about that.
I will. Anyway, go ahead. We get sidetracked.
If we're moving on from that point,
let's do that.
Okay. So Bondar is the portrait of class.
True.
This is something that actually kind of bothers me because I have known way, way too many professional women who, if they don't tolerate shitty behavior from their male colleagues, they get labeled a diva or difficult to work with or demanding special treatment. But if she keeps her head down, then she's classy. She's old school. She gets praised for that. And yes, she reported that behavior, but when she was asked by her superiors what a fitting course of correction would be, she just said, that guy's going to get what's coming to him, leaving it up to chance or whatever. And then it's pointed out that she's the one in the bar drinking old fashions, and what's his face that we don't know is the one up in space doing space activities. So clearly he did not get what was coming to him.
True.
And she got punished.
I think that I think the what he's got coming to him that she was trying to refer was like, I'll meet him in the bar. That's where I will be. And basically saying, I'm going to fucking punch him in the face and then we'll have a beer.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that was my impression of it. And I thought, well, that works really well with kind of how Wayne is too. You got a problem with somebody? Yeah, we'll settle it and then we'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like, he just avoided that and basically got away because she was saying, I will take care of it.
Yeah.
I'll be in the bar.
She's old school. Like Wayne, I think Wayne would say he's old school as well. So, I mean, as far as the way he would handle things.
So it would make sense why he would revere her so much for that. He probably is like, I would be her. I would be sitting in that bar waiting. But also that she didn't make such a big deal that she ruined his career does kind of I would do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, this is probably because, again, I have known way too many professional women who have been passed over or even outright fired.
I think the thing you have to think about this and this, because at the end of it, he's talking, maybe these were cosplayers. We don't know. I mean,
yeah,
it's like
the more he thinks about it, the more he's like, this probably didn't happen.
This is probably my guess is somebody had a fic that they were talking about.
He's like, oh, we got to work that in the story somehow.
And as they were cosplaying or whatever. So, I mean, like,
live action role play.
Right. There you go. LARPers.
Oh, God. Cape Canaveral LARPers. Jesus, what a concept.
I mean, people do dress up to go to Disneyland or Disney World in this
Disney
case.
World,
They do. They absolutely do. Speaking of Star Trek, so we have mentions of the Shuttle Bay, the saucer section.
Yes.
Galaxy class.
That's what I was saying.
main
It sounded
bridge.
like a Star Trek fanfic.
Oh, yeah. It was
I
all Star
love it.
Trek references.
Yeah, the Galaxy class vessels. Russia has a joke star.
Starfleet. Yep.
And Beta Quadrant are not things that are usually used to refer to sections of the ship. They're usually used to refer to sections of the galaxy.
Right.
Right.
Wayne makes mention of Bondar keeping a captain's log, and then they specifically shout out the Jaeger loop, which is a 5-ship formation in a diamond pattern where they pull up and then do an aerial twist and come out of the loop going in a different every one of them going in a different direction.
Was that was like a Wesley Crusher episode, wasn't it? When he was in Starfleet?
No, I think
I looked it up. Hold on, it's on Memory Alpha.
Like as soon as you started describing, you're like, wait a second, I know this.
Okay, let's see. The ships performing the maneuver begin in a diamond slot formation. They then climbed and looped backwards at a steep angle, and at the peak of the loop, turned over and accelerated in a new direction. This maneuver was known as the Immelmann turn. Let's see. Okay, so the episode it appears in is The Next Generation, The First Duty. We got mention of wormholes, which DS9 shout out, God bless. And then Wayne does the communicator flick from the original series.
Yeah,
I love that shit. And then you've already mentioned the Picard maneuver and Warp 10 home. That was great.
Now, do you know what the Picard maneuver is actually?
Oh,
it's so this one I know. It was a term that they made up on the set because Patrick Stewart had this way of when he stood up, because the costumes kind of bunched weirdly, and so he had this way of using his arms and wrists to straighten his uniform out as he stood up, and they called it the Picard maneuver.
Oh my God.
And now that he described that, you can see it, right? Every time he would
when he
stand
stands up, he's got
and he would kind of do a little mini tug.
Yeah, just straighten his little
Yeah, it was all just one slick move.
Hilarious.
So that's the Picard maneuver, as heard from Jonathan Frakes.
Yes.
You know what? Jay Frakes is like the source.
Yeah, and he is so active in so many things as well.
Oh my God.
What else you got?
Okay, so now we're getting into like heavy shit.
All right.
Okay. So the show properly opens, quite aside from the cold open, it opens with a very explicit demonstration of the fact that Wayne and Marie Fred do not speak the same language, both literally and figuratively. So when Wayne says, as long as you're laughing with me and not at me,
right?
Marie Fred replies, absolutely not.
Right.
And then Marie Pear actually says out loud, he speaks very strangely.
Yeah.
So that whole interaction has never sat right with me, because if Wayne really is autistic, as I think he is, that's actually kind of a really mean thing to say.
I would agree.
They are laughing at him just for being the way he is, which is not something that is part of the culture of Letterkenny.
But I will say that because the interaction later when he gets her to say leopard and all that stuff, I think
it's a thing.
Oh yeah, so I think it's the thing that they have where you know, because he gets her to say leopard. It's these things that they just find adorable.
Yeah.
They find adorable about their differences. And you know,
Dean does it to me.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, you know, she'll say something.
I do it to him too sometimes.
And I say, "Oh,
yeah,
that's so fucking cute."
And then you'll ask me to say the thing in front of somebody, and I'll be like, "Jesus Christ, I know exactly what this is about." Fine. So, I mean, I can relate to that. That doesn't mean that that's what was happening, but I can relate to that.
I think it's laughing with. It is kind of laughing at them, but it's laughing with love.
Right, and I can also understand what Austin's saying because if I don't know someone's intention behind it, I absolutely will take it personally.
Yeah.
Like if you out of the blue do that and I'm not prepared for it, sometimes I take it personally even from you.
Yeah.
And we've been partners for 13 years.
Right.
So I absolutely can see what the concern would be. But also, it could be just kind of their flirting and sharing this adorable thing.
Yeah, and Katie knew it. He said, "Oh, this is the thing for the second verse, right?"
Right.
So
she knew exactly.
This was something known that was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it is fairly ambiguous. I will grant that. Continuing on in that vein, though, there is. In the second conversation in front of the Letterkenny Central Credit, we have it kind of feels like a lighter version of that earlier conversation without the stick. Because Marie Fred is, as far as we know, neurotypical.
Yeah.
And Wayne absolutely is not. So I feel like there is a different weight to those two situations.
There is. I can see that. I mean, I think, you know, the first one, you know, had to be longer just because it's the entire alphabet twice. And the silliness of him covering his eyes to say the second part. And so then,
Well, he's just doing the directions and the lyrics of the song.
Right.
Like he knows that it's silly and he's still consenting to do it. Like he's like, okay, fine.
Because exactly.
Like
That's
he
why
knows she finds it adorable.
Why? It's why he says, because he knows it's a laugh, because he says you're laughing with me at this silliness. So, and not just because. I mean, they are laughing a little bit. They both laugh at each other's accents, I think.
Yeah.
So
they do.
So I think it is just what it is. I don't think it's I don't think it's meant to be harmful. I don't think that Wayne sees it as harmful or feels any impact of harm by that. I think it's just I just think it's a thing with them. They're just cute. It's a cute thing that they do together.
And I would hope that, like how I've grown in having better communication with my partner and letting him know when it does hit wrong, I would hope that Wayne would say, you know, I'm not really feeling it right now, but I'll do it later if that's okay. Or can we like plan this for another time? Right now it's just I can't process that right now.
True.
Like that's what I say to you when something like that is not gonna land well. I don't know.
So that sort of conversation feeds into another thought that I have after this. So continuing on this thought though, in both of these conversations, Marie Fred ends the call with "Je t'aime."
Yes.
And neither time does Wayne reply in kind. Right. So whether they're speaking in English or in French, they are talking past each other.
Okay. I can see that.
In contrast, Wayne and Katie share the same language, both spoken and nonverbal. So outside the credit union, Wayne demonstrates for Katie some of Marie Fred's linguistic quirks, right? In the same way that they had in that earlier conversation at the produce stand.
Which he also owns up to not having, to being a bit off in his language.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they both say the exact same thing at the exact same time in the exact same way. Yeah. Something that we have only see him do with Rosie. And then later in front of Modine's, we see Katie button up Wayne's top button.
Yep.
Right? Which we know he does. Yeah. Which we know he does that for like some serious romantic action, right? Yeah. He does it in Wingman Wayne when he goes to make time. And then he does it in the old college try right before his date with Tanis. So Katie knows his rituals and she understands his nonverbal language. And she shows this by doing up his top button.
Yeah.
And then we see Marie Fred undo his top button.
Yeah.
And that shows us that she doesn't speak his language and she doesn't know what he's going to do. And she is not in step with him.
So I know that you are looking at this through a different lens than I am. But what I see and all that, what I remember of my own relationship with Dean, like we did not speak the same language and understand each other for a decade. So a beginning relationship, which this still is for them, no, she's not going to understand every, like Dean still is learning how some of my nonverbal cues are. And again, 13 years. So
also keep in mind, this is new relationship energy for both of them.
Yeah. And
it is
like comparing his relationship with Katie, who is his sister and the one person he trusts wholly in the entire world and has grown up with him as kind of partially his protector as well as being protected. I think comparing those two relationships, it's not fair to Marie Fred. I think that the language that they are creating together is what they were trying to show there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
I can see that. Because I mean, everybody, you'll speak to your spouse differently than you'll speak to, once you let's say you got married, you would speak to one spouse and have a different language than let's say you got divorced and remarried.
Right.
You're going to have a completely different language with each other. You create that relationship is not one person. It is two people creating an entity. So yeah, and it's a romantic entity versus a sibling entity.
Yeah. And the relationship that Wayne has with Katie, he doesn't share that with anybody else. So like that would be like me hoping that Dean understood me in a way that Grace did, but Dean has known me only as an adult, whereas Grace knew me when I was a child and knows everything that I went through and to become who I am. So I don't know. I get where you're going with it. I can see exactly what you're talking about, but I still think that everything that
because here's based on what's coming up in the next season, I'll say what I want to say is this is showing a level of trust that he's putting in her, that this is why this is so important with what's coming, spoiler alert, what's coming next, right? Because he's placed all his trust in her, that she's not making fun of him and that he's
letting her in. And
right.
It's the first time he's really done that with anyone since the girl that broke his heart.
Yeah.
So, because even though he's dated and, Rosie, all of that, it was never a love situation until now.
Yeah.
So he's also probably forgiving a lot of things because, well, I mean, she doesn't know it as well. So, maybe I'll mention something later, or maybe I just don't care enough about that thing to talk about it right now.
Yeah. And yes, he and Rosie did, and
they had a cute connection, but they didn't really have a connection.
Well, even coming up, as we know what's coming up, spoiler alert again, they do speak on the same level, very much so.
If somebody spoke the same way that I did, I would be annoyed as fuck.
No, and that's kind of what
because I'm annoying to myself.
Yeah, and
I would not date somebody that spoke the way that I do and processed the way that I do.
There's so many ways to look at this because we do know what's coming up.
Yeah, I think Rosie is safe.
True, as is Tanis is kind of safe.
Tanis is safe because he knows what to expect from her, and
this is somebody from outside the community. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is taking a risk,
huge risk,
a big leap.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
he might not be seeing warning signs, or it might be that she's not intending these to be warning signs, and she just doesn't understand him yet.
I mean, the thing I would think about that is, Katie is seeing this as, oh my God, my brother is in love, and this is awesome, and it's beautiful, and they're so fucking cute together. I think if she thought
something was wrong, then I would feel like something was wrong. But Katie does not see anything wrong. She's excited for this.
She's on board.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's 100% supportive.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's been no question because, when there's questions that Katie has, she does not hesitate to bring them up. So
absolutely not.
So I think if there were any issues with Kate, I think if there are any issues, Katie would have picked up on it, because it's all right there in front of her. All the video chat calls, she's seeing them. And so I think she doesn't, she's 100% protective of her brother. I don't think she feels like she has to be with this.
Yeah.
At least that's the way I'm saying.
She's encouraging him to be silly with her.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, it does very much read that way to me, because I think this is one of the ways in which they are incredibly similar, is they do not assume the worst until given evidence.
Yeah. No reason.
Assuming positive intent.
No reason not to trust her unless she gives you a reason.
Which is a quote that he made about Rosie. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then that was actually something Anik said too that made me think, well, I don't think that she's cheating on him.
Trust is love. Love is trust.
Love is trust.
Love is trust.
Like, what does he feel about your Insta? He knows I'm not a person who cheats, is what I read that as.
Yeah.
Perhaps comparing Katie's understanding with Wayne, excuse me.
Yeah.
Perhaps with Marie Fred's understanding of Wayne is a bit unfair, given the disparity between the length of their relationships.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
However, we see Wayne investing so much in Marie Fred, and this is actually something that is my next thing that I want to talk about, which is, and it requires a bit of a run-up, so please bear with me, right?
Okay.
Wayne and Marie Fred's arc, I don't think it starts at Bucky Beach. I think it starts at Series 1, Episode 1. And we learn that it's been almost 2 months since Wayne and Angie broke up.
Yeah.
And we learned that Wayne was with Angie for 5 years before they broke up.
Okay.
We know that Series 1 and 2 take place during the same summer, because in Native Flu, Squirrely Dan says, we tuned them up on our turf a fortnight ago, referring to the natives. Yeah. So it's not been that long between Wayne breaking up with Angie and getting into another capital R relationship with Rosie.
Yeah.
But it still takes him until the Battle of Bonnie McMurray for them to do any toe curling, right?
Yeah.
And that relationship lasts for the better part of a year before it ends when Rosie decides to move to Vancouver. Then we time skip to winter when Wayne tries to have a relationship with Tanis, and that fizzles out immediately.
Right.
And I figure that has to be their first date, because if they had gone on a date before that, it would have been over then.
Yeah,
no, they had just slept together.
Just the wedding. I mean, they had the wedding, and then they had the date. That was it.
Yeah, but they had slept together though a number of times. I'm pretty sure.
Had they?
They were
just once.
Just once. Okay.
Just once.
Okay.
And in Native Flu, that was their one-off.
Okay.
And then 4 episodes after Wayne's disaster date with Tanis, that is when he meets Marie Fred. And if we assume that 1 episode happens per week, that's 3 months, maybe?
Okay.
Between, and then...
Yeah, it's...
Because...
It's all the same season, for sure. I mean, it's all in winter.
Because 3 Wise Men takes place back to back to back.
Okay, yeah.
We can assume that Baka Beach takes place pretty near to Christmas or New Year's. And after that, Wayne decides to propose on the 21st of June, which is the summer solstice, which means that
the solstice.
They have been together for 6 months at maximum. Okay. And mind you, that is 6 months of weekends and bank holidays and FaceTime. Yeah. That is not 6 months of dating every day and seeing each other every day. Yeah. We're talking maybe 30 days in each other's actual physical company.
Sometimes when you know, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pause you for a second on that, because Dean and I went on 2 dates before he was living with me. So 2 literal dates.
I mean, look, I get that. Sometimes when you know. I get it. But Wayne goes from being a man who moves incredibly slowly by modern standards in a relationship to popping the question within 6 months.
Yeah, I think it's just he felt. I mean, I think they've made it appear. I mean, okay. So we don't know what the lens that the camera that we're seeing. Are we seeing things through Wayne's lens? So meaning that we're seeing that because this entire
he's
season,
excited
as
and
soon
she's
as
giggly and they're cute.
I mean, and everybody. I mean, up until we know what happens, we love this.
Mm-hmm.
This is fucking gorgeous, and we're so happy. And it's when you're happy for somebody and you're like, oh my God, he's gonna finally have somebody that loves him really, and that's kind of so I don't know if we're seeing it through the lens of Wayne or if this is like the overall lens, where we're seeing it as if we're a fly on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So
for my money, when I first watched this series and I saw Wayne open that box and I saw that ring, I was immediately filled with doubt.
I think it's because Wayne has had so much non-success with relationships so far.
Exactly. So series 6 started by asking us a question, right? It started with, what could be so urgent?
Okay.
I put it to you that what is so urgent is Wayne's biological clock. We have been shown explicitly how much his quest for love matters to him, how much it drives him, how much it hurts him even. It is the root of all his internal conflict. And then along comes Marie Fred, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
She gets him. She gets his humor. She likes his ethics. She likes his friends. And she gets along great with Katie. So to all appearances, she is his ideal mate. I think that he's starting to worry that if he can't make it work with her, who is perfect for him, then maybe he can't make it work with anyone. He's been burned before, and it got him shook.
Yeah.
He wants a permanent, stable partner, and so far he's 0 for 3.
Yeah.
That's why he goes from being somebody who takes, 3-4 months to start dating somebody and then to progress to having sex with them, to somebody who pops the question in less than 6 months.
So what you basically just described, what you just described basically is that Wayne is Demi.
Yeah.
But also being a Demi person who fell in love at first sight, essentially, it can happen. So I am 100% Demi with every relationship I've ever been in, except for Dean. When I met Dean, I knew.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always thought that Wayne was pretty demisexual. It jumped out, especially in Wingman Wayne.
Yeah.
And granted that when you know, but also between his drive for romance.
Yeah, he's definitely a romantic.
And his difficulty in his romantic life, I think he's feeling some pressure.
I think he's always hopeful for love. I think even though he doesn't say it that way, he has not so far he has not shut himself off for love. I mean, when he goes into his depression and into his little cave of I'm going to drink and watch TV shows, that that's his way of getting over it.
Processing, recovering, and going on with life.
Right, and his friends are there for him. And then once he's done with that, he has the ability to just put that behind him. I'm done with that. Let's move on.
I kind of do that, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, he's not a hanger on to those types of things.
Once he's actually processed it and dedicated the time to get over it.
Right. So it's just his that's one of his attributes on the spectrum is his ability to get over it, and move on.
I could see that.
I mean, I think
life is
a drive-through.
You just keep moving. Say that again.
Yeah, I think that definitely jives with his character.
Yeah.
But I don't think that exempts him from feeling like maybe he is at fault for the failure of his relationships. Like he wasn't giving them something because they clearly had to go outside their relationship for that.
Well, I think he knows that, based off of the way he talks to Derry and the way that, give him space. And he was that way with Rosie as well. He's not gonna crowd him. Wayne has his code of what he needs, and
what he believes he needs,
what he believes he needs, and how to act in those situations. They show the disparity between how Derry is with Anik versus how he is with Mary Fred, and that he gives her space. You're coming down. That's fine. That's great. Just, be safe. That's his interaction. I trust you. I give you complete trust until you give me a reason not to. Yeah. Derry, on the other hand, clingy. He's not trusting. He's got something that's going on with him, obviously, that he needs that reassurance. Wayne is, of course, always sure of himself, and then until he's not, and then he has to go regroup. But I think for the most part, he knows what works for him. This is, that he's not going to pressure anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. Mm-hmm. He'll only pressure somebody to do something if they need to do it, because that's part of, if you're in my group, this is the code, and so he will have people in his group, his people live up to the code. Mm-hmm. When a friend asks for help, you help them, et cetera, all of those things. And so, you're going to know what kind of man you're getting from day 1 to day 5 million. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be consistent. And that's the way he's going to be with his love life. And he will not cheat. He will get, he'll get the inkling, and then he's going to go talk to his other partner about that.
Sorry, can you repeat?
So he may get the inkling about cheating, like he did with the thing with Rosie and Tanis, right? On the Great Day for Thunder Bay. He, how that ended, where you thought he left with Tanis. Well, he was going actually to go see Rosie about, breaking things off, because he does not want to be that. He definitely doesn't want to be that guy. So he's going to go sort things out before he makes another move. So, mm-hmm. Who you're getting when you get Wayne. Every bottle of Wayne you open, it's the same bottle every time.
Right. That makes me really wonder why anybody would step out on him. Like, if you know what you're getting into, and you find that acceptable,
that's not the way cheating works.
Yeah,
cheating's not a logical thing.
I think I don't think you plan to do it. I think you fall into it. And I think, honestly, at this point, she still loves Wayne immensely. She knows she fucked up, and she regrets it.
Again, in spoiler country.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't even talking about Murray Fred.
Right. But yeah, even fucking Angie regretted it. Mm-hmm. Because she came back looking for it, and he's like, hard no. That's part of his code. Once she cheats, that you can't trust her anymore.
It's over.
Yeah,
no acceptance.
So yeah, it's So he's going to give you enough rope to either hang yourself or pull yourself out. So
I like that.
Yeah, that's Wayne in a nutshell. You like I said, you know what you get when you ask for Wayne, you're gonna get Wayne. There's no beta version, there's no pre-release. You get Wayne release. That's it. He does some upgrades on himself. He does realize when he has a fault about something, and he adapts quickly. So that's I think that if you are going to trust somebody, I mean, everybody knows whether it's about love, friendship, agriculture, Wayne is the most trusted guy. I mean, it's not that he's just the toughest guy in Letterkenny. He's probably the most trusted guy in Letterkenny. So he is a great fucking guy.
Yep.
Do you mind going down a rabbit hole for a second?
Yeah.
Given that we're already over time.
A little bit.
I genuinely think that the toughest guy in Letterkenny is not just an empty title.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is a legitimate position in the social hierarchy of Letterkenny.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Not only is it a huge part of Wayne's identity as a man and an individual, it has responsibilities. And this is borne out when you see people bringing him problems to solve that they cannot solve themselves.
Yeah.
So you see, Riley and Jonesy, for example, bringing him problems to solve that they cannot solve themselves in Native Float.
True.
And you see Tanis bringing him a problem that she cannot solve herself in series 4, episode 4,
where he comes to sort things out with the other guy that's going after her territory, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is not just a title; it is a function within the society that he lives in.
Yeah, and being the toughest guy doesn't just mean physically. He's also the mentally toughest guy in Letterkenny as well. Yeah. I'm not saying he's the smartest, but he is definitely, you're not, if you're going to fuck with him, he's going to pick up on it. He will deal with it. And he's not going to collapse about it. So, but yeah, I think that's what it is. That's why everybody likes Wayne. You know can count
on him.
Yeah, you can count him. You know what you're going to get.
And why people think that he's a friend even when he's not.
Yeah.
Because that's who he is.
I mean, he goes and he fucking rescued Stuart from the fucking
right. He helps out McMurray all the time.
Yeah.
He really cannot stand McMurray.
So he will allow himself to be pushed over a bit from time to time as he can, because he knows you help him. So that's what it is. But
I want to point out something here right now.
Sure.
Wayne is not the enforcer of if a man asks for help, you help him.
True.
Katie is the one who enforces that consistently.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've talked before about Katie being his moral guide and
his compass.
Yeah, because when Stuart asks for help, Wayne is content to let him go hang until Katie puts her foot down. When the Hockey Boys ask for help, both times when the Hockey Boys ask for help, Katie has to put her foot down. Wayne does occupy that position of authority and respect and responsibility, but Katie is the one who's constantly poking him in the ribs and making him fulfill that.
I think they kind of do it a little bit to each other sometimes as well. Because when she's trying to, and Dick slip out, when Riley and Jonesy, he doesn't want to let them come in. She lets them come in. But when the Dicks come back and she's still trying to protect Riley and Jonesy, she's like, no, they got to take responsibility. So there's, he's helping out the Dicks. Yeah. So it's kind of like,
it's very reciprocal.
Yeah.
Katie also occupies that same sort of role in their community. Because for example, when Riley and Jonesy bring her the thing about Angie and being sorted out themselves until she finds out that they are genuinely in over their heads.
Well, not only that, who it is, that it's Angie, and she wants
particularly
she wants some of that action.
Yeah.
All right, so let's we're getting a little bit in the weeds here. So
we are. We very much are. I expect this episode to be edited to fuck.
It will be. So let's go ahead and jump into
Fight.
Where's my phone?
I don't know.
Actually, I think I typed the stuff in over here. So let's start off with Wayne.
Wayne don't cheat.
Wayne don't cheat.
So Ferda. There's no other one in that. Be his friend so you can stand up and clap when he hopefully, gets engaged to the love of his life in his mind.
Correct. Ms. Holly?
I will also say Ferda with the eternal option on Ferda turning into the other F.
Oh, hell yeah.
So
which other F?
Fight, of course. Yeah, fight. Come on now.
So you want to fight him until he wants to fuck.
I will wrestle that white boy into the ground.
Okay, I just got a little turned on.
So there you go.
All right. So and then his counterpart, Derry. That poor boy.
Derry. Tiara, you go first.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say Ferda because I agree with Anik on this. He's way too clingy, he needs to grow up a little bit, get a little emotional intelligence before he's actually in a relationship with an actual woman.
Yeah.
So this was probably his first relationship with an independent person, somebody who wasn't, young.
And wasn't part of the community.
And wasn't a part of the community that he already knows. I actually found it really cute at the end when Bonnie McMurray was flirting with him because I'm like, you know what? That's perfect. They're probably at the same emotional level.
True.
So...
But she's going to bypass him pretty quickly.
Yeah, so I say Ferda. Yeah, she is. I say Ferda.
You keep hitting yourself.
I do keep hitting myself in here.
So, and are you Ferda?
That's my friend.
I know, but we're in a very weird space right now, and I'm surrounded by things that my elbow likes to connect with.
We'll send you pictures of our Pillow Fort studio.
Yes, please.
So, are you Ferda with Derry then?
The thing with Derry.
The thing with Derry. There's something about Derry.
Him being clingy and passive aggressive and weird with Anik until she already starts pulling away from him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he needs a friend, definitely, but I think he also needs somebody to pity fuck him, and I am willing to throw myself on that sword.
All right, then.
Cool.
Along with Monty.
I mean, it seems like, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It seems like Derry has, at least grown sexually.
Yeah. Has the paint dried enough?
She's old enough to drink now, right?
Well,
in Canada, it's 19.
So I she's 21 as of this last July.
And that may or may not be like canon in the show.
Yeah. All right. Miss Katie.
I will always fuck Katie. Always.
I like her in this one.
I really like Katie in this episode.
Yeah, Tiara is pretty much a Ferda for Katie most times.
Usually, yeah.
But she's playing into the cuteness, which is cute in itself. So yeah, and I'm kind of the same.
Dean
wavelength.
knows my type. That was funny.
I'm kind of in the same wavelength there. So I'd be much the same way.
Yeah.
So Squirrely Dan also plays into the cuteness when he's doing the ABCs and he's just grinning over there. And then Lavina
when he sees Lavina, right?
Yeah, it's all adorable.
Oh my God, when he sees Lavina, that is like the sweetest look. Oh my God.
If I walked into a room and a person that I had a crush on took off their hat and looked at me with a smile, I would be like, hi.
Oh yeah, at that point you're just like mopping your chin, right?
So
slip and slide, boys.
So are we fucking Squirrely Dan then?
We're always fucking Squirrely Dan, unless Squirrely Dan is an ass. Squirrely Dan's my type, yo. He's cute. He's funny. He's adventurous.
He is. He likes. He likes the fingers.
He likes the fingers up
in the back
bumps.
store.
Yeah.
So are you awesome?
I'm still on Ferda because I am cheering so hard for Dan and Lavina.
Right.
I want to coach him through that and help him fucking tie it down.
Yeah. Riley and Jonesy.
Okay. Can Ferda include a couple of well-deserved dope slaps?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't see why not.
Okay. Because
Katie slapped him.
This is something that really bothers me. They know that Derry is with Anik because they have not broken up at that point. And okay, your private time, that is entirely up to you, but don't bring it up to her boyfriend.
Yeah.
They all were doing that. They all knew that it was his.
Well, yeah, they started
girlfriend.
as soon as Derry walked in.
Everybody was being around to slaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were being assholes.
Yeah. I mean, so from Riley and Jonesy to Tyson and Joint Boy, they're all being, well,
even the skins, I fucking slapped Stewart for that shit.
Well, I think I think Stewart doesn't scary that he just thought, oh, she's sexy, I'm gonna beat off to her. Because it wasn't until somebody brought it up that he said anything
It's
about
like,
it.
oh yeah, I just jerked off to her. Huh. Yeah, hadn't thought of that.
and rolled, and I jerked off to that.
Which
Roland is a sweetheart, and he is so in unrequited.
He's a unicorn.
He is a unicorn. He's a unicorn cinnamon roll.
A unicorn cinnamon roll, yes. He's too pure for this world.
He's a little bit unproblematic.
Yes.
Super gay.
Super gay.
Super gay.
Like
that was
rolled,
the cutest fucking thing.
Right?
So hang on. So let's not.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Riley and
Don't
Jonesy.
make me talk about Rolled right now.
So Riley and Jonesy, you're Ferda that with a smack to the back of the head.
Yeah.
Tiara.
I for kind of that reason, the like being completely insensitive to somebody who obviously was uncomfortable. Like I would be willing to fight for that.
Okay,
I would say
I thought
fight
so.
with
Yeah.
a Ferda after. Yeah.
So you're both kind of in the same area, just more one's
Coming
more
from
fight.
different-
One's more fight than Ferda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, this just proves that Tiara and I share a brain cell.
Oh
there
yeah.
you go. you're the Riley and Jonesy of this podcast.
Oh boy.
I love it.
Oh boy. I want to be the tennis.
There's no tennis this episode.
God damn it.
So Joint Boy and Tyson then.
Same. Yeah.
Like fucking, they need a friend to give them a swift fucking correction.
Stewart.
Again, smack Stewart.
Stewart
he
is-
knows.
Yeah.
So is this a Ferda smack or a fight smack?
That's a fight smack.
He's sober now, right?
Yeah.
So fight
Yeah,
smack.
'cause
Yeah.
he's needling Derry on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, then rolled.
Oh, I
Ferda
mean,
roll.
yeah, Ferda with like a dude that wasn't that funny. You were helping contribute to like putting the, but he was referring to Stewart jacking off, not referring to the picture.
Yeah, he didn't give a fuck about Annie.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he needs a friend.
McMurray.
Fucking McMurray, fight him.
Oh, fucking McMurray, fight him. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm actually gonna say Ferda in this one.
Yeah.
Because
He's not privy to what's been happening.
he's not privy to what's been happening, so he
No,
doesn't
not
know
really.
that he's
That's
walking in
fair.
and insulting.
Yeah.
But also, I really, really want to find out why he gets so uncomfortable when somebody outs themselves, because, like,
I think he assumes that any guy who's going to be around him wants to hit on him.
see, I
if
thought that
they're gay.
before.
Yeah.
I thought that before in previous episodes where he's been like, oh, really uncomfortable. But in this one, it was like have I done anything to make you think? I just want to make sure. Now I'm thinking. No, so I'm straight. Just so you know.
And I love my wife.
If I've given you any thought that I might not be, because then again in the next scene, basically we're looking at it like, is Rold sitting on his lap? Like they're still. He's not afraid of Rold.
We can have it and
Right? Like before he was weirded out. Now he's like, okay, now I still am uncomfortable, but you're cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would say Ferda probably for McMurray the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's odd to me because Series 6 McMurray, as told by Wayne and Derry, seems a lot more homophobic than first instance
Right?
Series 3
Right.
McMurray. So
but then this
on
scene,
the one hand, it feels like character regression.
Yeah, I think.
But then you have him sitting real cozy.
Yeah, it looks like he's almost sitting on his lap.
right.
Yeah. So I don't know really what to make of that.
Yeah, I think a McMurray is an onion.
but-
There are many layers to a McMurray.
Yeah, and most of them are fucking gross, which is why I fight him on
Right?
principle.
And that's why I don't eat onions. So
Hey, fuck you! Onions are delicious. God damn
hard
it!
no.
No.
Hard no. So let's go to Mary Fred. How are we with Mary Fred?
Oh my God.
I'm
gonna say something.
If they were part of the lifestyle,
if they were part of the lifestyle, I would have no hesitation at this point in time in what we know about Marie Fred. She is so cute and adorable and funny and sweet, and I would absolutely have a crush on her in real life, like if I met a person like her.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say fuck.
Yeah.
But with that caveat of not if she's with Wayne.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so because this is my third time on here, I feel like I now have to start sticking with the rule of this episode only.
Okay.
And in this episode, well, like everything that we know up to this episode, again, everything seems picture perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't know anything else.
Right.
And if she could talk Wayne into it, because you have to consider them as a unit in this episode. If she could talk Wayne into it, I would absolutely be down for a threesome with the both of them.
I would actually agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's make it a foursome. You, me, Marie Fred.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I am so turned on right now.
However,
yes.
I still have a really, really, really big. I cannot reconcile the. Wait, she has to know that Wayne's autistic. He has to have told her.
If he knows,
if he's being diagnosed.
I didn't know until I was 37, and I used to teach kids with autism, so I really should have known. But no, I didn't know until just a few years ago for myself. So, I mean, with what society would look at as higher functioning, it is really hard to get diagnosed. Like, it was obvious that from Little Kenny that he got some extra support, but that doesn't mean he had the diagnosis.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, okay. Bonnie.
Bonnie is actually finally cute,
right?
But she's still way the fuck too young.
Right. Yeah. Same. Absolutely. I say Ferda, and I would be wingmanning the hell out of her with Derry.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because Derry does have the emotional intelligence of like a 15-year-old boy.
Right. It's perfect. He's like a high schooler and she's like a young college girl. Let's go for it.
Exactly.
Anik.
I actually don't find Anik that attractive.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
I am like for my type.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get why Anik is a where Mary Fred is not. Because for me, it would be Marie Fred.
Oh, totally.
So
big motherfucking same.
Yeah,
my girl.
So
honestly,
Anik looks like a model, and that's not interesting to me. Yeah. I like interesting.
So you're both.
You.
Are you both?
Yeah.
Are you both Ferda then?
I'm Ferda.
I'm gonna Ferda her. Yeah.
No reason to fight. She's coming. In my opinion, she's coming back to tell him it's over, so that she doesn't cheat on him.
Yeah.
God, when I first watched this, I was ready to fight her because when she said love is trust, my gut instinct was like, that is some things that somebody who is cheating would say.
Could be. I'm very well ready to be wrong. I just didn't having like this weekend was basically my first rewatch because I have been focused so much on previous episodes, and now we're starting to get more current with the series as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was watching for that because I know in the future they refer to her as being a cheater, and I'm like, I don't see it. Why don't I see it? And then that was like, I had to really like watch for why are they making this assumption about her?
Yeah.
I would not have gotten that assumption just watching this episode.
True.
So the first thing I thought when I watched this episode the first time, and Derry asks Anik if Jean-Claude knows about her racy Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
She says, love is trust, which number A does not answer the question. Right. And number B, if that is something a cheater would say, like, no, he doesn't, but I don't want to say that.
Or is she referring to it because she can see that Derry got jealous over the fact that she had this and Jean-Claude is not? That Jean-Claude doesn't see it as a big deal because he trusts her.
But
Yeah.
she did not tell him about her Instagram account. That has to be on purpose. But she did share it with Katie.
I mean, Katie and her are good friends. And
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, it
Maybe.
could be that
I
she
don't
got it from Mary Fred.
So
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. Whatever.
Genuinely, I think Anik and Marie Fred are foils to each other. And I also think that Katie and Marie Fred are foils to each other, but in very different ways.
Okay. All right.
So that's the lens that I am looking for.
Scotty Wallace.
You.
Trivia time.
We know about Scotty Wallace. I follow him on I follow him on his sexy Instagram with his pets.
Scotty Wallace is actually like the Letterkenny production team's dog walker.
And that's
his professional real ass job.
And that's his real ass name too. Scott
It
Wallace.
really is.
They just pulled a friend in for a reference that was an inside joke, and make people go and look him up and maybe give him more work.
Definitely. Because he also trains dogs. So
He probably trained the dogs in the show. And
yeah. And so he's give him some recognition.
When Jared and Jacob Tierney are on set, he walks Graham and Gus.
Ah. Okay.
He is a local. He's a Sudbury local. He's a dog walker and trainer, and he's got on his Instagram pictures of like the pack that he walks on the daily. And when they're shooting in Suds, Graham and Gus are like immediate.
Yeah, I think that. He's actually he's a good guy. He works with them in packs, and so he's a good guy. Anybody who
He's a good guy. Follow his Instagram.
There's a special
Dogs is great.
There's a special place in heaven for animal lovers. So I guess we're both both Ferda on Scotty Wallace, even though he keeps poor companies.
he does keep
Even though
company,
he's for company.
and it's kind of creepy, but I say Ferda.
All right then.
Why do you hang out with Ginger and the Boots, dude? Come on now.
Because they're the next on my list.
Ew. I don't even want to touch them in order to fight them. So
I'm with T on this. We need to like run the fuck away and find a secondary location.
I think you got to keep Ginger and Boots on your Ferda list because you might need them in a scrap
True.
someday.
That is true. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's say Ferda.
Perhaps.
And Ferda meaning they could be like a fourth tier.
It's a strategic Ferda.
Yeah, exactly. Strategic Ferda.
I love that phrase. Strategic Ferda is fucking perfect. Thank you.
Put that on a shirt.
Strategic Ferda.
That's a band name.
It can go along with a big tennis energy.
Yes.
Did I miss anybody? There was a lot of people in this
Gail.
one. Gail.
Ferda for Gail, and also please wash your hands, Gail.
Yeah, Jesus.
Don't use a bar rag.
Don't use a bar rag
to clean your quim.
Like get some soap on that. Fucking.
I love Gail.
Please do not be popping my beers with like your clammy hands. Okay?
Literally clammy hands. Unless you're using Clamato to make a.
I'm kosher. I don't do that.
Doing a Caesar. All right. So that's all we got, right?
All right.
So any final thoughts? This has been a long one.
I miss Jim Dickens.
Jim Dickens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim Dickens. He's a good guy.
We'll see him again, I'm sure.
He'll be coming up. All
right, so next episode.
Season 6, episode 7, Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
And unfortunately, I don't have my booking thing. Actually, no, I take that. No, I don't have my booking thing here. So I can't tell you who's going to be coming up next week for music or guest hosting. So I apologize. I don't have my other thing here where I have all my stuff. So, but yeah, there will be another guest host and there will be new music. So, but today's
and hopefully there won't be any technical issues.
We'll be back home next weekend.
I'll be back home. You know, you do what you do. You do what you can with what you got.
And apparently people still like us because this isn't the first episode that we've been like, we're going to run away and set up a weird studio in some stranger's bedroom or.
Yeah.
This is our passion, and we'll keep doing it from wherever we can, as long as we can.
Yep.
So
yeah,
because we love it. So thank you, Awesome, for joining us. We love you. And
thank you for having me. And I love you too.
Loves you so much. Oh, and we're going to be let's real quick on our Discord server. We're going to be starting having a little get together on once a month thing that you and I are going to start working on. So that we can sit down and listen to music and talk about the show. Maybe do some watches, do some trivia, all that kind of stuff. Who knows what we're going to do? We need to hash it all out, but that's the plan anyway.
Yeah.
But
we're also, don't forget, if you want to hear our interview with Jess Salguero, you can go to our Patreon. And even at the $1 level, you will hear any special content like that as soon as we do it, whereas everyone else has to wait
until the recap.
And in this case, when you are hearing this, it will be at least 2 more weeks before you will hear this interview, unless you are our Patreon patron.
Can confirm. And again, we want to thank our musical guest, the Yellow Light Maybe. So, and we'll be signing off with that. So, Awesome. Thank you very much. We will talk to you soon, and we love you. And everybody out there,
love you too.
We'll see. We thank you for hanging on. And here's some Yellow Light Maybe.
Bye.
At the age of 5, I begged for a yellow toy truck. Easy for pleasing, babe. No, it doesn't take much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of How Are You Now? If you like us, subscribe, review, give us 5 stars. You can do that on Apple Podcasts /iTunes or on podchaser.com. We'd love to hear from you. Also, we want to give a big shout out to Yellow Light Maybe. All their contact information will be found in our show notes. They've been awesome for sharing their music. And if you are a band and you would like to share your music with us, please send us a note at hosts@howareyounowpod.com. We'll see you DJs next week.
For the TV, it hurts my heart with the problems of the world. Forever young, I wish you'd stay. You're the shield's a precious girl. But grow you didn't, grow you must. You've grown right into me. So take a chance, hey, take my heart, hey, take a chance on me.